you were too loud, too emotional, too intense, as if your presence was a burden. So you learned to shrink and called it peace. You minimized your joy so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable. You dimmed your light so no one would be threatened. But your brilliance wasn't the problem. You believed your depth was exhausting, that your need to feel, to question, to connect was too much for the world. But what if the world was just too small? You apologized for existing, for needing space, for taking up room. But your presence isn't a disruption. It's a gift the world hasn't learned to receive. You confused stillness with safety, thought that if you didn't speak, you couldn't be wrong. But silence without consent is not peace. It's erasure. What if you weren't too much? What if you were exactly enough? What if the real you, loud, feeling, intense, was never the problem? You fear that if you show your full self, you'll be rejected again, that your truth will be twisted into drama, so you stay small and call it wisdom. You've been told to tone it down, as if your energy is a flaw, as if your fire needs to be contained. But what if your fire is meant to burn? You equate authenticity with danger, because once, being real made you vulnerable to ridicule. So now, you armor up with silence. You've minimized your pain so long, you've started to believe it wasn't real, that you were just too sensitive. But your nervous system knows the truth. You've been taught that peace means no emotion. But what if real peace means being able to say, "This hurts," and still be loved? You've spent so long translating your depth into, "I'm fine." You've forgotten what it feels like to be truly seen. Your intensity isn't a flaw, it's a force. It allowed you to survive by feeling deeply. And now, it can guide you home. Healing starts with permission, with saying, "I am allowed to take up space. I am allowed to feel deeply. I am allowed to be me." You don't have to explain your energy to be accepted. You only need to be around those who don't ask you to dim, but invite you to shine. Your feelings aren't problems to solve. They're messengers. And the message is simple. You were never meant to carry this alone. You are allowed to be loud, to feel deeply, to love fiercely, to exist without apology. That's not weakness. It's wholeness. This isn't about becoming less. It's about becoming seen and learning that your real self was never too much. It was always enough. You don't have to hide your intensity anymore. You don't have to apologize for your depth. You can begin to honor it, not as a flaw, but as a compass. Start by listening. To the child who was told they were too much. To the part of you that still holds its breath. Honor that fear. Then gently invite it to speak. Your realness matters, not because it's easy, but because it's true. Because it carries the truth of your survival and the hope of your healing. Healing isn't about becoming numb. It's about creating safety, a space where you can be, without fear, without shame, without needing to shrink. You are not broken. You adapted. And now, you can evolve. Not by becoming someone new, but by returning to the self that was always there. You are worthy of love, not when you're quieter, not when you're fixed, but right now, exactly as you are, even if your voice shakes. If this resonates, you're not alone. For a gentle guide to help you reclaim your real self, validate your intensity, and heal from the inside, explore the link in the description.